Okay, so we are in Little Sumos right now. Little Sumos opened its doors in spring 2007. It's when we were established. It's been open for 16 years this coming spring, which has been a lot, and I've definitely grown up here. It is co-owned with me and my father. My father owned it for about 14 years on his own, and the entire family worked in the restaurant with him. About 2 years ago, I went into business with him, and I started learning the ins and outs more than I already knew, more of the back work, more of the behind the scenes work of the restaurant. And I've been doing that for about 2 years. The menu items are, we have a decent sized menu. All of our fish comes from different places. So it just depends on where you are located. Like, it is a common misconception in a lot of fish restaurants that fish has to come directly from wherever you're located, because that's just not correct. So we get our tuna, scallops, and flounder right off the boats in Barnegat Light, because that is what is native to the island. If we were to do anything like shark or fluke, we would get that off the boats too, but we don't do that. So anything else like salmon is a warm-watered fish. Warm-watered fish has to come from obviously a warm-watered area, which would be the Gulf of Mexico, North Carolina, any place off the coast like that. Same thing with yellowtail. Yellowtail gets driven in from New York, and then our octopus comes straight from Japan. So we have established a liked and a variety of fish in quality and quantity that we can keep up with that comes from different locations. So over the years, our menu has changed quite a bit, and in the recent years, we have established poke bowls, which is not actually Japanese at all. It's actually Hawaiian to begin with, and it is, or has been adapted in Japanese culture. A poke bowl is what I like to call a deconstructed sushi roll. And it's a bowl that has rice and usually seaweed salad, a lot of Japanese condiments and ingredients in it, and then you just kind of eat it on the go. It's an easier thing than eating sushi. Here at Little Sumos, we have decided to kind of do our own take on that, and we offer different toppings, and we don't quite offer a create your own bowl yet, but we do offer different bowls to be selected from. So we have a tuna bowl, a salmon bowl, octopus, spicy crab, spicy tuna. We have one with eel in it. We have a vegetarian one, which is huge because I think a lot of people forget that sushi can be made vegetarian, and that is a huge part of the clientele. Also gluten-free, same thing with the gluten allergies that are popping up in our day and age now. We have to be very conscious and aware of that and not restrict customers based on what they can eat. So we offer a gluten-free poke bowl, which basically just means no soy sauce, no ponzu sauce. And some of the other ingredients like spicy crab has gluten in it. So as a co-owner, as a manager, I have to be very aware of what has gluten in it, what doesn't, what has soy in it, what doesn't, what has all the allergies and stuff in it and what doesn't, so that we can adapt it to the customer and make sure that there is no reaction and make sure that they get the best food possible from our locations. We also offer party trays. Party trays is a big thing, especially during summer months, because you have 4th of July, you have Memorial Day, you have Labor Day, you have birthdays, all that kind of stuff. And it's easy to pick up a big platter, then figure out what everybody wants to order. So we offer about 8 preset party trays, which have about 10 to 15 rolls on them already, and we don't make changes to them. Those are pretty standard, like California rolls, spicy tuna rolls, also like some special rolls, and those are just more of a convenience for customers to come in and just kind of have something to bring to a party. We also offer, though, if you already know what you want, if you have a list of at least, let's say, 10, 11, 12, 13 rolls, minimum you have to have at least 5 or 6. We can put it on a party tray. We can adapt your order to a party tray and make it look nice so that you have what you want, and also it looks presentable, it looks beautiful, things like that. Party trays are, I would say, one of the biggest selling items here just for our location and like by the water and the beach parties, things like that. It's an easier thing for a customer to grab. Some of our special rolls that people absolutely love is like the Surf City roll. Surf City roll was originally named the Little Sumos hoagie, which does not sound as good as the Surf City roll, but because it is such a large roll, it has tuna, shrimp tempura, cucumber, avocado, spicy blue crab, and it has spicy mayo and eel sauce on top. So the roll is big. It's a big, like each piece is like bigger than your normal size sushi roll, if that makes sense. And that is right now I think $17.95, and it's a huge hit. People love that roll. So we actually adapted that from a roll that was Little Sumo's hoagie. I mean, it wasn't anything like what it is now, and it has developed into a really popular roll. Another roll is the California almond, and this is a specialty of my father. My father has brought this to a number of restaurants that he's worked at, and in the casinos and things like that, they actually still have this roll on their menu. So if you go to like the casino or something and you see a Cali almond, that was my father's idea basically. And it's a deep fried sushi roll. It's basically a ginormous California roll, deep fried in almonds, and you take it out and you put eel sauce on top of it. And the almonds and the warmth like bring out something in the roll, and people love it. I mean, it's such a favorite roll. So that was developed by him maybe 18, 19 years ago, and he just kind of brought it over to his own restaurant, obviously, because it was one of his signature rolls. And I would say, lastly, the volcano roll. Volcano roll is definitely a big one. That is an eel and cucumber roll, and it's fried. And when I say fried, I mean it's tempura. We put it in a tempura batter, and then we put it in a oil that's a vegetable oil, so it doesn't have any soy or peanuts in it. It's all, for allergies and stuff. So we put it in a vegetable oil and we fry it, and then we take it out, we cut it, we put spicy tuna on top, and then we torch it. We take a torch and we torch the top of it and make it super crispy. We put eel sauce, fish eggs, and scallions on top, and you send it out. It's kind of a messy roll, but it's one of those rolls that people love to love, and they love to have it. So when COVID originally hit, I think it hit everybody differently, especially small business owners, and especially small business owners on this island. Nobody knew what to expect. Nobody knew what was going to happen. Nobody knew people were going to come in. Nobody knew people were going to show up. So many state regulations were coming out for small businesses. You had to keep updated. Masks, plastic sleeves, things were mandatory. So when COVID was going on in the winter and we were getting ready to open in the spring, we were scared, definitely, because a small business is always an investment, and you always invest in food, money, products, things like that. And so if it doesn't come back to you, it can be a decent sized hit financially, right? So it does give you a little bit of worriment. For us, what we didn't expect was we had the best summer of our entire Little Sumo's career. Summer of 2020, which would have been, 2020 would have been COVID the first year. We made sure that masks were mandatory. We put up plastic barriers. We completely shut down the sushi bar, and we made it takeout only. We, at that point, weren't allowed to have seating, and then in the middle of the summer, it was kind of becoming a little bit more lenient, but we kept the sushi bar completely closed and kept everything takeout only. The good thing about that for us was we are a very small place anyway. We only offered a sushi bar. We only offered about 10 seats. So it was kind of like first come, first go. So we were originally 90% takeout anyway. So it wasn't a huge adjustment. We didn't have a giant restaurant that we had to shut down and try to figure out how to do takeout. We were 90% takeout anyway. We just took that last 10%, we went over to takeout, and we just pushed from there. And we did 100% takeout, and it worked. For some reason, we had one of the best summers. We were busy. We were open all day. And it was a confusing thing to try and figure out, but we ended up doing it, and it ended up working. The summer after that, which would have been this previous summer, we ended up keeping the sushi bar closed again, just for not necessarily regulations, but for our own comfort and the people that were working here. And we kind of got a general gist that just keeping it takeout for right now until COVID is fully out of its swing would be better than trying to open up and make as much money as we can and get people sick. We didn't want to do that. We didn't want to have to keep shutting down. We wanted to make sure that people had a good experience. They were pulling up, we were putting it in the back of their cars, we were letting them pay through Venmo so that they didn't have to touch the registers, things like that. We wanted to adapt to the COVID culture more than try and benefit ourselves and bring in money and have people get sick. So we did that, and this summer again was an amazing summer. So far so good as what I can say. I think that when COVID hit, people took off of work and they came to the shore, and they were here earlier and they were here longer, and they were spending more money, and they wanted to be out and about because COVID was still ramping up, but also they had young kids. They wanted to still be doing things without feeling like they were, going to big museums and getting sick, if that makes any sense. So we still had clients that were coming in and people that were wanting to eat and have party trays and things like that. We just had to adapt a little bit more of our business to it, in a sense. So again, we opened 15 years ago. When we originally got this place, we wanted to get the corner. We are in a strip plaza, so there's about 8 stores in our strip plaza, and we wanted to get the corner lot. We couldn't get the corner lot, so we ended up getting one over to the right. So we're kind of in the middle of our section, and when we got it, it was, again, my father's dream. He wanted to own a sushi bar. He wanted to own a sushi restaurant. He'd been working for other people his whole life, and he wanted to open one up. So we moved in to the neighborhood and we established business here, and we got extremely friendly with the other businesses around us, especially the woman, Julia, who owned the Bookworm, and she was right on the corner. And we were with her for about 15 years. Anytime we got a break, we would run over there, we would get a book. And it was definitely one of my favorite childhood memories, and also young adult memories of being in her store and just growing up there, growing up in this little town that we had developed for ourselves here in this business community. And so when she decided she was going to go out of business, it was me and my father kind of sat down and decided whether after 15 years this was something we wanted to do, whether we wanted to get the corner lot and expand into that restaurant, or whether we wanted to keep it small and then maybe sell one day and get something bigger. Because originally, like I said, this was his dream, so it really wasn't about me. I wanted to know what he wanted to do. What did he want to develop? What did he see here in this little neighborhood? So he said, let's do it. I called the landlord and I got everything in progress, and we signed the lease 4 days later. And it was a big deal for me because I didn't want anybody else to move into that place. That place was somewhere I grew up in. I wanted to be in there. I wanted to make sure that I knew that somebody that cared about her and cared about her place and all that kind of stuff was going to be moving in there. And we expanded. So we expanded. We had no idea what we were doing. It was new to us because we had spent 15 years developing one small business. Now to have a second one, it was definitely a new experience. And I wouldn't say we did it on a whim, but we did do it in a short enough amount of time that nobody else could grab up the space, because right now in LBI, people need small businesses, so they're just grabbing up all the small businesses that are becoming available. So we went in there as soon as we knew, and within a couple of weeks we had taken down the walls and we had developed a business plan, and we had decided that we're going to put in seating and we're going to open up a sushi bar and we're going to put tables in there, and what the idea was and what the plan was. And from there it was just all about developing and ingenuity. And we have to go through the menu items. I'm not quite sure about menu items yet. Like I said, it took us so long to develop a menu that fit this small business so perfect. So now I do know that it's going to be at least 5 years before we feel comfortable with the menu that's going on next door. And that seems like a long time, but in a small business, it's not really that long. You have to develop what your customers want, what they want to eat, what they want to see, how they want to feel, music, temperature, atmosphere, all that kind of stuff takes time because you don't know. So we are going to boost everything, basically is how I would put it. We're going to make sure that there's more sushi items, more sushi rolls, more different types of fish to be offered, poke bowls, hot food, appetizers, different types of drinks and things like that. We're gonna stick this summer, our first summer, with the original menu and have an attached a menu basically to it, like an extended of the menu. And that's just gonna keep us this summer being able to proficiently run things without completely putting all of our money and time into new food and new this and new that. It needs to be developed. So we're going to, have a smaller menu than a normal restaurant would, but it's just because we want to develop it. We're going to do different types of, like I said, hot foods. Like we want to try salmon teriyaki, we want to try pho, we want to try soups. And that's kind of the cool thing about a restaurant that is run the way our restaurant is run, is that we are able to try things. We are not in a box. We are a Hispanic family running a Japanese restaurant, and we are already breaking the barriers of norms. So we don't have to be put into a box. We can try different things and see how people feel about it. And if they don't like it, we don't bring it back. If they like it, we bring it back. And we want to make sure that our clients and our clientele is basically the sole focus of what we're doing here, and making sure that they, try different new things and cool things that maybe are found in New York and Philly and not on LBI and not around here. Yeah. So here at Little Sumos, the entire family works. There are 6 of us total in the family, but right now about 4 of us work full-time. My father is the head sushi chef and will continue to be the head sushi chef in the new expanded area. I'm hoping that as he gets a little bit older and as the business develops, he'll be able to take a step back and kind of do more behind-the-scenes work. But for right now, he does love what he does, so he's going to keep doing it until he can't do it anymore, basically, is what he's told me 1.5 million different times. So he's going to be the head sushi chef. My mother works on the books. She does the finances. She does the bookkeeping and all that kind of stuff. She keeps the accounts and the money flowing, is basically what I like to say. She makes sure that everything is paid and all the bills are paid and everything, all of our vendors and everything are paid off. I myself work as the manager and co-owner, so I do hiring, firing, I do ordering, I work in all the customer service aspects of things. I make sure that the party trays that are going out look as good as they can look. I make sure to keep the employees organized and keep their schedules organized, make sure that we have enough people on shifts and things like that. And I make sure that basically the day-to-day operation is run as smoothly as it can be run, so that my father can focus on making the sushi, my mother can focus on all the stuff she needs to get done, and I can focus on everything else running smoothly. We have organized and adapted a way of life here in Little Sumos where we can work as a family and not always want to kill each other, basically. So, and Savannah's coming back next year. She'll be hopefully the manager, because with the new expanded place, I am going to need as much help as I can get. And me and Sav only worked together for 1 summer, but she is such an incredible worker and she works really hard, and she has developed a knack for this business very quickly. So when you find people like that, you definitely don't want to just let them go. So we are going to be bringing her back in summer 2022. Which is crazy to say. Hiring wise, sushi chefs are probably one of the most excruciating things to hire, because it is a talent, it is a form of art. And when something is in that sense, people like to be paid for it, which is completely fine. Obviously you want the best of the best. And so it's very expensive to hire sushi chefs. It's a hard, job to come by, and it's hard for us to usually find them. So within the last 6 or 7 years, we've actually taken kids from in our neighborhood, young kids, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and we have trained them to be sushi chefs. And I kid you not, we have had some of the best sushi come out of here from 21-year-old college kids that are just at that age, that are just eager to learn and want to find something they can do. And I always tell people who come into the sushi business that if anything were to go wrong or anything were to happen, you have a career and a skill to fall back on. If one day you need a job and we taught you how to make sushi, you can go somewhere and get a job making sushi if you need to. So as long as you have that person that's willing to learn, that's all my father ever asked, is that you are willing to learn and to, see if you can do it. And so we have developed a lot of chefs that way, and it keeps it keeps things easier for us. It makes it so that we can have different people working different shifts and not have to have a sushi chef on for 9 hours a day and things like that. Hiring counter help and everything else like that. It's been harder since COVID because of the amount of people that don't want to go back to work, that are getting paid unemployment, and things like that. So it was a harder summer hiring wise, but we have found people. Like I said, Sav, it was a miracle we found Sav, but we did find her. We found a couple other people, and you can come in, you can say what you want to do, and we will push to see what you can do. If you want to work on the phones, but you have a good eye for photography, I'm going to put you in charge of the Instagram page. You know, if you come in and you want to wash dishes, but you are really good in the kitchen for some reason, or we have developed, we feel like you're good, then we're going to move you straight into the kitchen. We're going to pay you more, and we're going to make sure that you can have a job that is something different for you and also helps benefit us in a way as well. You know, Sav came in and she wanted to do phones and things like that, and she ended up making the Pokeballs because she had a eye for art and she was good with fast pace, and she could work next to my father without getting offended every 2 seconds. And so when you find, you know, somebody, my father's a very hard person to work with, and when you find somebody that can handle him, you know, it's amazing. And so when we found that she could do that, we put her right in the making Pokeballs. You know, we bumped her pay and we made sure that she came in and that was her job, and that helped fill a gap for us. So we offer, we don't, you know, resumes, fine. We can kind of, if you want to work, we're willing to let you work. So resume is not too much, and you fill an application, you can go on the website, you can go on our Instagram or our Facebook. So we have a variety of different social media platforms that you can get in touch with us through. We have a Facebook, which is just Little Sumos. We have an Instagram, which is Little Sumos Sushi SC. You can DM us on there. We have an email account, which is littlesumos@gmail.com. Send us emails, anything like that. We are located at 1513 Long Beach Boulevard, Surf City. Little Sumos right on the front. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys there coming April 2022.